if you're right, hey, you start getting your shit together. 16 is when you realize you kind of start getting your shit together.
Yeah.
If you want to start preparing to be a decent, a young adult. I'm not trying to go to the law school phase first. I'm already am, but I'm trying to step up on a good foot. But having zero responsibilities, because you couldn't, I was 15, I wasn't even allowed to get, legally allowed to get a job. I ain't got to worry about your car bills. I ain't got a car. All I had was weed, board, and $20 for food. And I'm eating every week.
Literally.
And it was survival mode, but I enjoyed it because I learned so much. And I'm a little bit still stuck in that time period. And it's I feel like every moment since then, in a way, is me trying to recreate that sense that I felt of freedom. You can even say now, this was something I probably would have done during quarantine. But at the same time, since being a senior, I've had so many other different moments. I got other friends and stuff like that. I've had other moments with them that would be better than what I experienced during quarantine.
Yeah.
But considering quarantine lasts from March to August, that's a long time. You know what I mean? What is a good month compared to a good 6 months? You know what I mean? That was I'm not gonna say every day was amazing. I had some really bad moments, but overall, that was a great 6 months for me. So it's this whole senior year, this has been my funnest year of high school. I've had an amazing year, but would I say it's been better than quarantine? I had a homie ask me this. I said, no, this year is better, but really sitting here thinking about it, I just felt more carefree. I think just the social responsibilities that are given to me as I've grown older, certain dramas and stuff that you just go through as a teen, I'm not as carefree as I used to be. That's the only thing I guess I don't even want to say it's the moment. It's my mindset at the time. I was a real zen, it is what it is. Let's just very chill individual because I can afford to be. Now I still think I'm a chill individual, but I have to be on my shit. I don't like it.
Do you think that your certain carefreeness was selective over the quarantine?
It was when I say carefree, it's just that the lack of responsibilities where I could kind of just be who I want to be. I could do what I want per se with my limited resources and things of that sort. But there's not a lot that I really want to do. All I wanted to do during quarantine was see the homies. Now, not just see the homies, there was weeks where I isolated myself on purpose to learn more about myself. That's why I was spiritual before that, but I really started getting into it deeper during quarantine because I had the time to, That's why I started meditating every day. You know what I mean? That's why I understand love of myself. That's why I started learning about chakra, started learning about different philosophies, different theories about the world and stuff like that. I started expanding my mind. My teacher asked me who in this class they learned more during quarantine than they did in school. I was one of the only people. There was only 2 people basically that had. I was one of them. I feel like I learned more in those 6 months than I had learned anything from school because I've always been a seeker of knowledge. I've always enjoyed learning. It's just what I'm learning. You know what I mean? I learned about myself, which is the most important thing you can learn. I learned about the world, not just the social world or what we see as the world, but the world in general. What world am I really in?
Yeah.
I started learning about the perception of what is reality. I made YouTube videos and stuff like that where I would kind of discover those breakthroughs.
Oh, for sure.
And things of that sort. So I was carefree in the thing of I was still learning. It's not like I was sitting back and I could do what I wanted to without having to worry about anything per se. And it wasn't constantly that like I said, I had really bad days. Figuring out what I was going to eat was pretty much a mission every day and shit like that. But at the same time, I take that what I have now is I gotta wake up and then I wake up, okay, I gotta study for this placement, I gotta do this assignment, I gotta get ready for it, I gotta find a roommate for college, I gotta worry about how much my room's gonna be, I have to worry about, oh shit, how much gas do I got in my car, oh shit, and I still gotta worry about what I'm gonna eat today. It's just a heavier load on my mind than it used to be. And I allow it to be a heavy load. These are responsibilities that I have to fulfill to myself. And, I kind of wish I could go back to a time where I didn't have any responsibilities. The only responsibility I I felt the happiest when the world wasn't that active.
Right.
You know. But now, of course, I'm happy things are going back to normal. I've had again amazing moments this year. I've had some of the happiest moments like a couple days ago. You know, I just went to my prom and stuff like that. But it's like I feel like I'm more now playing the game. I feel like I'm now just your typical high school student. I feel like I've progressed in a way in terms of even my maturity. I've always been told growing up that I'm a mature teen and stuff like that. But you know, this year I don't feel like that. You know, when I was 15, I didn't feel 15. I felt like I was older than what I was. But now I feel like I'm still 17. But I feel like I was 17 when I was 15. I feel like I really haven't progressed that much because I'm too busy trying to be the high school student. I'm too busy, you know, doing all these moral and responsibility, social fulfillings and stuff like that I haven't had time to just do what I want. I might get a day out the week where I genuinely do what I want to do without the social obligations. Like today is my day where I can finally say, I want to do this. Fuck everything. I want to do this. This is what I want to do. With quarantine, I'm not gonna say it's the full 6 months, but like even if it was half, let's just say 3 months. I still had 3 months to decide this is what I want to do.
Like you had to do what you want to do on these certain days without learning about or knowing about your schedule. And it kind of made me reflect a bit because with how you think about what would happen before quarantine even happened, how you missed those certain months where we were all clicked up and just like doing whatever. I think the one thing I would do, although I do miss those moments, I wish I went back to the moments and learned what I learned right now. Because if I feel like what we have that requires, it's like any knowledge in terms of whether from the real world or whether from the astral world, you know that certain things that you could have changed or avoided back then. And although people say, well, it's always to learn those lessons, true. But it's always good to know if you know what you learned to try to not do that again.
I think another thing I kind of miss is that though quarantine couldn't happen now, because if quarantine happened now, I don't even know how that would work. Considering that like I still got to figure out how to get to college and stuff like that. But I wish I knew what I knew from quarantine and then went to quarantine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if quarantine was happening, I wouldn't mind it was happening like earlier this year. I could have enjoyed my life and still have the knowledge that I have. You know what I mean? Like I feel like a 15-year-old me took as much of an advantage as a 15-year-old me could have. I started working out, meditating every day, learning to be healthy, learning to take care of myself and stuff like that. But I wish I knew even more. I wish I got even deeper into my artistic process. I wish I got even deeper into working out. I wish I got even deeper into skating. Absolutely. You know, I wonder, I partly wonder, did I waste some of those months? Did I waste those 6 months? And maybe part of me did, you know. It's just human life, but I will say that I do have a little regret on what I did do during quarantine. Sometimes I wonder that I spent too much time just bullshitting around. Yeah. You know, when I could have been taking advantage. Because I would like 6 months of free time is a lot.
It is a lot.
And again, I'm not upset per se over who I've become today because I am defined by those 6 months. I believe that the most important time period of my life was those 6 months. I wouldn't be. Well, if you take away quarantine, I'd be a completely different person. You know, like even when it comes to spirituality, but look, it's funny how that happened. 2 weeks before quarantine happened, I was telling my teacher. I don't know, I had a sudden like urge where I'm like, God, I started meditating when I was 14, but I just didn't know how to do it right. I wasn't able to do it right. When I was 15, like before school got out, I would tell my teacher like, I want to get deeper. I feel like there was a calling to me. There was time for me to go deeper into that spirituality that I couldn't do when I was 14. 2 weeks later, you know, quarantine happened, so that's the perfect opportunity for me to, you know, get into it. So I'm not saying I would have never gotten into it had it not been for quarantine, but I don't think I'd be as realized as I was.
Would have been more frequent.
Yeah, without quarantine. You know, I don't know. Like I can never imagine who I'd be. 6 months is a long period of time. Who knows what could have possibly happened? But I wouldn't be the man I am today. And I'm okay with who I am now. So it's the 6 months that would require my character development. Me to be a better. I feel like I'm a better person because of quarantine. some people think they're worse. I think I'm better. You know what I mean? I think I would be scared to see what he looked like without crazy. Because I would have, who knows how those issues I was dealing with would have actually resolved had I finished out the book. It might have not gotten better.
It probably would have been either better or worse, depending on how you see it. Because you might see a certain negative effect on you by yourself personally, but if you see other people like around you, they might think of it as positive.
I just don't think I would be as realized as a person. I wouldn't have broken through like I have and kind of realized our perspective, our consciousness and all of that, because I wouldn't have had time to. Solitude is the biggest thing a person can do for themselves.
Yeah.
Because you just have time to sit and understand. So I had 6 months to sit and understand myself. And at that, of course, I'm always growing, so I really need to sit with myself for a week and understand myself to this day now. But I would say that, like I said, it's just a time period that in a way I'm stuck in. Because, I think it has to do with the time, the freedom given to me, the lack of responsibility, and the people I was around. I'm genuinely against that wholeheartedly. And I think I deal with unresolved grief because it just happened. Yeah. It's kind of just happened that, we're just not all hanging out. I know that's a natural process of life, but I wasn't ready for that to happen. I think I grew such an attachment that I didn't realize I had that watching it happen, it's not like I immediately reacted, but I just remember one day looking through photos and I'm just like, damn, that shit will never happen. And I think that was the realization of like, damn, that shit will never happen to me.
I think the moment I saw that, like, going to play was when half the people were visualized. And also, it's always apparent it's true because it happens to everybody. That if you're in a relationship or you're basically talking to somebody in some way, shape, or form, you're going to be spending more time with that person regardless, more than the homies. And by the time homies had certain people in their lives, whether they were booed up or their special benefits, that already made us like more distant. But you can't really blame that because that's just like, it's just like feelings going by through seasons. Some for longer, some for less. People might think of it as a certain like life-changing experience that they might have until they get older and learn from each other, or it could be short as a fucking oil change. It just depends on how you perceive it.
I'm not mad at anybody. I'm cool. I'm still cool with all of the individuals. I've hung out with pretty much all of the individuals. I just miss the chemistry we used to have with friends. And certain people, it's like I hang out and it's just not the same as it used to be because you've changed and I've changed. I can admit, out of everyone, I probably changed the most. Because I was younger,
You had a lot more to like.
I had a lot more character development to go through. Like, the age I am now is the age our friend Daniel was during quarantine.
Yeah.
Daniel was 17. Now I'm 17. And I asked myself, would a me today hang out with that friend group now? Like that friend group from quarantine? Because at this point we're around the same age. And I don't think I would. Because I've changed so much. I'm not really much of a stoner. I'm more aware. Too much bad shit has happened to me. I'm always not looking over my shoulder. I'm always kind of I'm not gonna say on edge,
but like you're always cautious.
I'm super cautious now because I've seen too much bad shit happen to me. It's not like, and I don't like putting myself in weird positions or nothing like that. And I'm not gonna say I'm untrusting of people. I'm very wary of people. I can just see intentions through people. So it's like, once I see you in a certain way, it's like, I just don't want to be around you. I can't even pretend like I don't. So, in those ways as well, it's like, I know I've changed, but I know a core of me will still, like, let's say me, Daniel, Gary, and Jack all got together. I know it would still rock. I would still rock with all of them. Because I still do to this day. But I can say that change it's a beautiful process. I'm glad I have changed. I've changed for the better. There's certain people that changed, and I see them, I hang around. It's just like, our bond is like I say, our bond is the same, but our interactions is the same. How we interact is the same, stuff like that. And that hurts as well. It's a natural process. And I think that's what most people go through, especially in high school. I feel like people are really about to start going through that now. I've already went through it younger. I'm still dealing with it now, but guess it's making it easier doing it the second time. You know what's going to happen again with my other friends and stuff like that. But it's just time to get up stuff. I miss it, but I would,
I think it'd be better to just not really focus on stuff that happened.
I try not to. I really try not to go back. I used to have a really bad problem a couple months ago where I just sit back and I just go through my memories, like from like the beginning of my life to like current day, and I just look at certain videos and pictures of myself
like I really did that shit.
Yeah, like you know what I mean. I still sometimes I do that to this day, but it's like I don't do it as much because I do believe I'm overall happier. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm overall a better person. You know, I'm bigger, stronger, faster. I have more confidence. I understand myself more, I understand my world. But I feel like when it comes to just pure enjoyment of life, that 15-year-old me would still outdo me. And that's not something I can really hope. He was put in a position where he could thrive where he wanted to thrive. I'm not saying he's like 10 times happier than me, but I'm a little less than him with all these social obligations and stuff.
Yeah,
so I'm doing the best I can, but it's like opening a door of what could be. I think that's the problem. I opened Pandora's box and got to see what true freedom is, and so now for the rest of my life, I'll always think about that. It's kind of like how people who take acid and stuff like that before, how people can get depression from that because they feel that happiness and whatever, and so they'll always chase it.
Yeah,
and maybe subconsciously I still chase it. It's weird because I've taken acid and I've had that happiness. I don't even care. Like that was like okay, cool.
Right.
I guess at that point I understood that like I already knew it's not gonna last forever, and whatever happiness I feel off the acid I can achieve naturally, but I'm not gonna chase that happiness.
Yes.
I was thankful for the experience, but that's because I already went through the problem of chasing the experience through quarantine. So it's like I got to see the Pandora's box of what true freedom was, and so now in the back of my head I'll always ask myself, damn, am I enjoying life just as much as back then? And that's the problem with my own mindset I need to fix.
Right. And honestly, the best way to explain that is you can't really go through it because when you take acid or any like psychedelic, you know that the first time is always going to be like, that magnificent time, like, okay, I want to try it again. Next time it might not be so pleasant. Right. And then after you try the third time, you realize that it's not going to give you any difference. In fact, it's going to be a little bit detrimental to your psyche because you're not going to act or feel the same way. And I feel that when you're looking at back memories and seeing things that you did before, and although they were cool and funny and a little bit cringy depending on what you did, it was also like a part of you, so you can't really forget that. Because if you just forget the things that made you in the first place, then what are you left with?
Yeah, who are you really?
Like you're just an empty shell of yourself that you had passion for. And I felt that when you said if your old self was more happy than the other one. And not even just from being happy in general, but just the things that you did, like the work ethic.
Right.
And the things that you still have the work ethic now, but you wouldn't have that same amount of creativity as you did before because you first starting out, you're trying to learn all these different things and all these different types of things you can do, especially with me making music and stuff, making beats. It was like there's nothing like sampling all these type of different songs and stuff, and then I realized it was more into that. Like you have to worry about what drums will go right with this, or how this would sound in the speaker, if this was distorted or not, if the gain was too high, if it was too loud or too low, and then all these other things on top of people saying, oh, these are fine, and other times it's just trash. So by the time you have that certain realization, you gotta start overthinking, and that's what makes you know, and that's when you know you have the thought of an artist. When you have a certain thing that you're creative about, and you're very self-critical about it, to the point that you know that it might not be as good as you think, and others might think it's amazing, that's when you know you have that certain niche that you can just keep going and going and going to rise up to like different masterpieces, different classics. Even when people think that it's like that, in the back of your head, you're just like, no, I need more. Like, I need to do more in order to make things worth it to myself, consciously, and just like physically in general.
I can't believe that chase ever stops though. Because like, for example, that board, people tell me it's good, I hate it. Like, I know I said it was decent, but like, I don't like the way it looks. Genuinely. Like, I did the sketch and everything, but now I look at it and it's like, look at it disgusting. It's just terrible. So it's like, it's always just gonna be, I realize we as humans, we're built to always chase something. We love to chase. I can admit it too. I like chasing certain things, you know you can catch it. Yeah. But I think I've been trying to recently like better that something that is not really chasing.
Oh, absolutely.
I might look at that piece and be like, that's terrible, but I don't try to fix every little detail. I'm like, well, I'll just do better next time. And it's funny, the whole acid situation. When I first took acid, it was back in October. It's acid in October. Day before my own birthday party. I took it, but I waited. Because I always knew I was going to take acid. I'm going to take acid. But I see the pros and the cons. So I knew, my most important thing I knew was that I have to be comfortable with myself before I do it.
Yeah.
I have to be rid of all insecurities and things like that. Because I'm not trying to fight my own demons. And I also knew I had to be by myself. Not saying I didn't trust anyone. I didn't trust to be with anyone while all that stuff, but I felt that I'm most comfortable around myself. I feel like most people are you don't know who you really are until you're by yourself. When you're by yourself, and you may say something out loud, that's who you are genuinely, pretty much. A lot of people always put certain barriers and certain walls up. I think it was which hope to achieve, or I hope to find someone they can at least all those walls down, but my point is that I knew I had to do it by myself. I'd be my most comfortable with myself. So I took it after school. I was only gonna start with half a tab. I took half a tab. I smoked. And I was like, I took the other half.
Yeah.
I remember I was sitting in my bed. I was watching a National Geographic YouTube video. And next thing you know, I sit up and it's like, oh, it's kicking in. So I go out to my backyard. And I'm sitting there and I'm smoking. And I'm listening to Breathe by Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, now it's really good. And I go to my front yard. I sit there underneath this tree in my front yard. And it's like a berry tree, not that big. I'm sitting there, I started crying, but it was tears of joy because I was just like, it was the realization that people, we're beautiful creatures. We have so much potential. A dog will always be a dog, but a human can be so many things.
Yeah.
You can be a rock star, you can be a father, you can be a role model. There's so much we can be. Now maybe on a physical level, but on a deeper level, we can be a lot of things. It kind of made me cry realizing how much we can be. I think a lot of people convince themselves they can only be a certain thing. But it's like you can be whatever the hell you want to be. Really, if you have the desire, you can really be whatever you want to be. Yeah, you may have physical, social, or mental, stipulations that may stop you. Like if I wanted to be a rapper, I probably won't be Drake level. I don't know, the best. I don't know who's gonna get me in. I probably won't get signed by record label, but there's nothing stopping me from being a rapper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it kind of made me realizing that realization. I went skating. I wasn't talking to anyone during this, but I was only snapping. I was snapping with my homies who had also taken that similar. So we're snapping back and forth. And we were going down this hill with the sun, and you just see if you saw me, you just see this happy black dude just skating. So I go to this park in my area, and at that point, I started hallucinating a little bit. I'm not even saying hallucinating. I didn't believe what I saw. I saw energy beaming off of the plants and things of that sort. So I'm just like, okay, it's really kicking in. So I go back home, and I'm just sitting there and I'm meditating. I don't even know how long I've meditated for, but I can just feel the void, what if you want to call it that, the void.
Yeah.
State consciousness, high self, whatever you want to call it. I remember just feeling that. And that was my experience. And I told myself afterwards that after that, I won't take any psychedelics again for the next 6 months. It's been past 6 months, but my rule still stands that I have to be okay with myself.
Yeah.
And I don't believe I can take acid right now and have a great time because there are things I'm dealing with now. I'm a little bit more stressed, with high school and everything like that. So right now wouldn't be the best time for it. It's not, but that feeling that I felt of just that happiness, I don't chase that at all. I remember it fondly, but I don't believe it's something that's worth chasing at all. Not like I would chase quarantine, but I think because that acid was a moment, but that quarantine was the time period. Right. What is one day? What is 4 or 5 hours compared to 6 months? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
that's a blink compared to a stare. So I guess that's another reason why that is something I chase a little bit because it was such a long time. I had had different months to think about. I went through time periods during quarantine as well. I felt like I was the same the whole time. I started quarantine off kind of heartbroken. Like, I went into a relationship, by the third week, I was single again. So I went through heartbreak, went through the process of rediscovering myself, went through the process of getting my swagger back, going through depressive moments, going through happy moments, went through dramas and all that.
Yeah.
But the central theme was the freedom that I had. So, there's that.
True. And to answer your question, you still can go for those things that you are worth chasing. It just depends on if they're good or bad in your life. Like, if there are certain things that are like vices per se, you can still be chasing them, but there's also comes a price with each vice.
Like, I don't think I can just sit around and smoke weed all day like I used to in quarantine. Though I miss being able to do that. Like, I'm not even gonna say I per se want to do that, but I do miss being able to just like wake up, smoke, go to someone's house, smoke again, go like get ready to go to sleep, and like I do miss just being able to do that pretty much freely. Like, it's not even about what I did, but how I could be able to do it. The fact that I was able to do it.
Yeah.
Now I feel like I couldn't do that successfully with the life I live now. But while saying that, I realized that I chose the life that I lived. Not entirely, but like I put myself in a position to live the current life that I live now. So that's probably why I'm not able to do what I used to do. At the end of the day, everything's choice. So if I truly wanted to go back to quarantine or live that type of lifestyle, I could per se. It just would have consequences.
Yeah.
More hard. I'm not gonna say quarantine didn't have consequences, but the consequences would be more harsher because things are different now. I'm older. I got things I have to do. Not have to do, but things that I'm obligated to do. I have responsibilities, so it won't be the same.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely won't be the same, especially with how everything is going on. Like today's age, not even just from a relationship standpoint, but just for like. I guess just like how you treat others as well, like how you really don't appreciate things until it's too late. And if you know the things you're appreciating are 100%, but you also know that shit's not going to last. Like, that's the thing that's fucked up. Because either before quarantine, I always thought, okay, I'm glad that this is going to be like, here to stay. But then after a while, you're like, okay, I get this is not going to be here to stay. But I just want to see how long this can go. And you never know how long it can go. But deep down in your mind, it's like, yeah, this isn't gonna work. And if at times it might be a little self-detrimental because you might think that you're being evasive towards people's feelings or emotions. But in reality, you're just looking for yourself all in all. Because, like I said before, you can't trust anybody more than yourself. Especially when it goes through certain hardships, no matter what it is, whether it's like very high or very low.
I will say that I think quarantine ended the way it did because it taught me the lesson of appreciating the time I have. Like, it's my senior year of high school, and I'm aware that, like, I've been aware that how things are going to be in terms of my friend groups and stuff like that, that what we feel now is not going to be forever. So maybe that's why this year's been so great, because I already know that this is going to be over.
Yeah.
It's going to be over soon. So it's like I'm already appreciating that time now because I know I'm about to walk. I'm going to have to go through what I went through quarantine again, but the grief is not going to be as hard because I'm already aware. Like, I already went through grief.
Yeah.
I'm still going through that grief. So it's like what I went through then is nothing compared to now. It's school. That's freedom. I'm not going to grieve school as hard. So I'm thankful quarantine didn't end the way it did because it taught me the lesson of appreciate the moments you have.
Yeah.
I'm just thankful. I could sit here and be like, why couldn't quarantine last longer? Why this, why that? But I'm just appreciative that it even happened. And that it went the way it did, because some people, like I said, went through hell during quarantine.
Not
terrible. Like, some people lost their life during quarantine, how alone they were. I'm appreciative that my quarantine was amazing. I can say that honestly. Like, I just appreciate that moment. Because that's a moment that I'll be able to tell my kids and my grandkids about, because that moment will probably never be recreated. At least not in my lifetime. If it is, it's never going to be the same. That is a story for me. Those 6 months of having true utter freedom.
Yeah, and you can't have that self-freedom unless you go and search for that freedom.
Right.
Like whether it's financially, or actually spiritually, because physically, a lot of things that can be detained, it can also be unlocked. It just depends on the key you find during life, and just have to find the right key.
Right. Like then this summer, I plan on. It's not gonna be the same as quarantine. But I plan on living my life on that sort of freedom. But it's like I ain't about to stress about nothing until I do. Just gonna chill. Just gonna enjoy my life. I want to be able to do what I want. Like I woke up today, like I want to go skate in downtown New York. My homie, I haven't seen him. This is what I want to do. Right. I'd be damn there if he stops me. It's like, I spent my whole fucking Saturday doing something I really didn't want to do. Truthfully. You know what I mean? I did it for the sake of my team, my coach, and all of that, but I didn't. Right. And that's something I've been learning recently, that I realize a lot of people are not as genuine as they think they are. And I say that because whenever you are around people, you feel like you have to act a certain way. You know what I mean? If you walk into a room and there's a bunch of people with suit and tie, you feel like you have to be more respectful than you usually would be, and stuff like that. And most people will argue there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm starting to like, maybe there's something in this. I know this is gonna sound weird, but it's like, why can't we just be as genuine as we are? Some people are naturally assholes, but they try to suppress that because, social cues and stuff like that. But it's like, nah, you're lying to yourself. You're hurting yourself in a way, I've lived through that now, this year, trying to be something. I'm not gonna say it's trying to be something that I'm not, but suppressing certain parts of myself because I feel like it makes me a better person. Or that it makes me look better. But it's like, at the end of the day, I'm hurting more inside, and I'm more disconnected with myself because I'm hiding who I am, or I'm not expressing who I am genuinely. I'm not saying what's really on my mind. I'm saying what I think should be said, or what I think we need to hear, instead of just saying what I think is the truth. You know what I mean?
Do you think that said truth is something that you wanted to just get away from specifically, or is it something that you just put in just as fun?
I just feel like the truth, for me at least, was that I wasn't saying what was on my heart. Instead, I let my mind filter through and pick out certain pieces. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of thinking through what I have to say. I wanted to speak from my heart and deal with those consequences. And again, most people will not do this, and I know why. Of course, when you walk into a room, you're supposed to be respectful, but like, why can't you just be respectful always?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to be at a point where it's like, who I am will work no matter the situation. I'll always show respect to others anyway. So why do I have to, change my mind? Like, no. Fuck code switch. I just want to be my genuine self, and I feel like that's what's going to make me feel happy. Yeah. I feel like I deal with myself better in the mirror knowing I was who I was genuinely than looking myself in the mirror and ask yourself, who are you? I had a discussion with my coach, the team member, about that. It's like, something I wonder, who am I really? Because something I could be a more serious individual. Something I could be a more joke, laughing individual. And my coach said, oh, well, that's just what charisma is. That's what it is to be a human. It's just like, I get that, but at the same time, like, no. I'm changing based on the people I'm around, how comfortable I am around them. But the comfortability I feel comes from myself. I should just be able to be comfortable regardless of who I am. Why should I express myself as you? I want to be my most genuine self, no matter who. Like, if I'm having this conversation with you, I shouldn't have this conversation with somebody who walks up to me right now. Nothing should change. Why should it? Because I don't know you? Like, no. I'm trying to get to a point where I'm so comfortable with myself, so comfortable with things that's happened to me and my own truth, that I can just express my honesty without filtering it out. It's not hard for me to say, like, I ain't shit. I ain't shit sometimes. I've been an asshole. I haven't been the best son, friend, boyfriend. I'm not perfect. I'm human. But I should be able to say that without the hesitation or the mind filtering of, oh, I'm going to pick this piece out, this piece out. No. I just want to be able to speak. And, hey, if you don't respect me, don't like it, then we won't have any interactions. But I'd rather know it's genuine than for me to kind of question if you knew the real me, would you still talk? That's another thing I've been seeing now is me asking those questions in my head. Like, if you knew who who I really was, would you still talk to me? It's funny, I had a discussion with my mother about I want to meet a partner that I could be 100% honest with. She said that. I said, I know it has to. There has to be someone out there who I can tell my entire life to. I'm talking, I'm gonna filter out anything, and they still treat me the same amount of respect, love, and all of that. That's one of my dreams. I want to be 100% honest with someone. But honesty starts with yourself, so I have to start trying to achieve 100% honesty with the people around me. And hey, if you respect it, then you can stay. If you don't, then you can cease. But I'm tired of not feeling like I'm genuine. I'm tired of asking myself, who am I? Because I keep breaking or hiding certain parts of myself so much that I don't know who I am sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just want to be genuine. You know what I mean? I'm not thinking about what I'm saying right now. I'm just speaking from the heart. So that's something I'm trying to achieve now where it's like, that fuck it. Hey, fuck it.
You're not feeling. If I think something is stupid,
Hey, like, I'm not gonna be a dick about it, but if you ask me, I'm not so opinionated that I have to always look at to speak. But if you ask my opinion, or you ask me to speak, I don't want to feel like I have the same damn filter to my head like. So the correct response is like, no, I want to be like, hey, my nigga, I don't do that shit. Or, hey, my nigga, that shit was stupid. Or, hey, bro, you fucked up. Yeah. Or, damn, why you go out there, why you did it like that? Hey, bro, that shit wrong. You wasn't available to fix this situation. I want to be able to just say that. And you know what? I'll deal with those consequences. I'd rather deal with those consequences than to hold back and know like I disrespected myself. That's what it feels like now. When I'm not genuine, I feel like I'm disrespecting my own character because I wasn't real with me.
Yeah, and it's weird because you know how real you are, like behind closed doors, and there's some instances where you don't feel like you can be that same type of honest to other people. And I feel like when you be honest to a certain person, it gives you more respect, and that is facts. And I 100% agree with that. But there's also a thing about too much truth going into it, because you know somebody to a point, like all the way to a T, and you already know their flaws and their pros and their cons. But you know that all three of them can either over time make you feel kind of like not, I'm gonna say like distant towards them, but it's almost like getting a brand new car and you know how much miles that has. I'm not saying not sexual, I'm just talking about just like through life, throughout the years. You're destined to have a certain replacement with that certain car. I'm not saying you're gonna do it all the way through, and you still make it work, but either way, everything comes to an end. So with how somebody has a tolerance for the amount of honesty or how much shit hits the fan, I don't know if they're gonna be a fan.
I can understand that, but like I'd rather let you know I got 200,000 pounds than trick you into believing I only got 2K, and then I break down and you're surprised. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm gonna just let you know up front, because that's another reason people like hide themselves, because they don't want to be. We as humans are social creatures. We don't want rejection. We want to be part of the tribe. So people hide certain truths about themselves. I mean, chicks hide the fact that they're like, well, I'm not gonna say sluts, but or sexually active, or what you would call it freak, because they're scared of being socially judged, not only by the opposite gender, but by their own gender.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why can't we just, you know what, fuck it, bro. I have no reason to judge anyone anymore. You know what I mean? I feel like I've seen too much, been through too much, and done too much to where I don't judge anybody for anything. Tell me your entire life story, and I won't judge you. I will choose, and of course I'm gonna look at you maybe differently, but I won't, leave you as a friend. Because if I like you as who you are now, why does your past even matter? You know what I mean? I haven't been perfect, but it hurts me more to not pretend that I'm something that I'm not, which is a good. I've never been through shit. I've been through a lot of shit, and so it's like I carry that weight on my chest a lot because I sit back and pretend as if I'm just normal. I'm not a normal person. There's certain things I know. There's certain information I know about the universe that you wouldn't believe. So it's like, why should I disrespect myself by pretending I'm just a typical student? Now, if I got shit to say, nothing will be said, but at the same time, I don't believe in too much truth. I don't believe in brutal honesty. I believe in brutal lying. You can brutally lie to someone. I ain't gonna look at that nigga in his face and lie like that. I believe in that. I don't believe in brutal honesty. I do believe people can take honesty as being an asshole. You can see a well-placed truth is better than any lie.
Yeah.
You know, I do believe we can be sympathetic and we can tell the truth in a certain way, but at the same time, the truth should always be the mandatory must. You know what I mean? Like shit, whenever I talk, like, this is not cute. Whenever I talk to a chick or something like that, one of the first things I tell her is like, I ain't shit. I am an asshole sometimes. You know, sometimes I've been told I can be kind of cool sometimes. Sometimes I get emotionally unresponsive and I don't want to be bothered. I let you know this so it don't surprise you later. And then I ask, hey, what are your flaws? And then I peep. You know, sometimes they're like, I don't know what my flaws are. You know what your flaws are. So let's not play this game. You know what your cons are. And maybe they don't. Maybe they don't have the self-awareness the way they view themselves in that perspective. But I feel like it's a must for me to let you know this is who I am. I put myself on Front Street like, this is who I am. If you decide to judge that, then go ahead. But in your hearts to hearts, you know I'm more real than you because you know I said it. You know, I was willing to say it. I was willing to let myself, I put myself out there to be the fame shot and all that while you sit here with worse problems than me, but want to pretend like it's not, you know, you're not sweet like that. Like, nah, this is me. This is who I am. And I'm tired of disrespecting myself. Like, I don't want to live this life pretending or not being genuine to myself. I can't. I just don't want to live like that. That's one of the breakthroughs I've had. It's like, I don't want to live like that.
Yeah, because
I just want to live as honestly as possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why not? You only get one life. I might as well just be myself while we bullshit.
Yeah,
might as well be myself. Cause like, why would I want to be around people who want like me for a fake version of myself anyway? Cause then the connection's not that genuine in that case, really. So I might as well be my utmost self and see who folks will be then. And I mean, it'd be an unfortunate situation if that was absolutely nobody. I'm not gonna act like I wouldn't have loneliness because of that. I'm a lonely person, but I have very lonely moments. You know, I feel like I live a life of solitude sometimes. But at the same time, at least I can look at myself in the mirror and say, I was genuinely myself. Instead of looking at myself in the mirror and asking, who are you really?
I think the worst part, I think, when it comes to being honest, that you're not gonna really like please anything. That's okay. Like, you can see people for how you perceive yourself, and if you try to appeal to them, they're gonna think of you as, you know, sweet, a pretty cool dude. But at the same time, you just gotta let everything pass by with other people's opinions to the point that you can't even figure out your own opinion at this. And that's why I'm very worried about this generation, because if people are like socially unaware about their own flaws and shit, like genuinely, then I'm gonna be really concerned, especially if we're like in like an age range like us, like around 17 almost. It's like a whole bunch of things you should learn as a or at least a fully grown young adult that you gotta realize. If you don't realize that now, then that means there's not gonna be a lot of expectations for you that'll meet your reality. Like, you won't reach that standard that people really think about when they're like at least, let's say 12, 13, because they're still in that same mindset.
Right. I feel like I've always been a self-aware person at a young age. Because like I said, I've lived a life of, I'm not going to just say solitude, because there's some people who always got people around me. I'm someone who, you know, I wake up by myself, I go to sleep by myself. I live more of a solid life. So I've had so much time to just think about myself. It's kind of an issue. Sometimes it's too much of an issue. It's like I overthink. But I've had time to analyze myself. I psychoanalyze myself. You know, when I had said earlier that I deal with, what was it, unresolved grief. Just from just analyzing myself, that's like, I hurt over this. You know, things of that nature. So, again, for me, it's just, you know, I think a part of me try to suppress myself to maybe not be so lonely overall, but it's like, then I feel lonely inside myself because I don't know who I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I at least want to say I'm me. At the end of the day, who fucks with me, who doesn't. But it's a hurting feeling it. Feel like you're not speaking your truth. You know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like that's what a lot of people do, especially with the age of where we live in now. I don't want to go straight into saying cancel culture and shit like that, but people don't want to say certain things now. They don't want to speak their truths as much, you know? I'm at a point now where it's like, I don't care about what you say. You know, someone could post on this shit right now. I don't like black people. And some people are like, oh, we need to get the principal. And I'm just like, nigga, who cares? You know, like, freedom of speech is the reason. That's why they can't make me president, because it's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'd rather know the KKK Grand Wizard lives next to me. I would rather know than not know. Speak your truth. If you a fuck nigga, say that.
Facts.
If you a fuck nigga, just say that and let us deal with you as you are accordingly. Don't fool people into believing you something that you're not.
But at the same time, you gotta also know that if someone really doesn't like what are they really gonna do? Like, the most you can do is just not fuck with them at all. Like,
I know. I think we live in a world where people try to do beyond that.
Like, you can't be
people take words and try to justify it as, you know, shooting somebody now. You know what I mean? You take words and people take, like, I seen a, oh damn, I want to speak. Matter of fact, I'm gonna say this. An incident happened at my school. It was some months ago. It was like, I guess these two white niggas, I just said white niggas, these two white niggas was in a truck and they would either rapping a song and said nigga, or they just straight up said the word nigger or some shit like that. Next thing you know, a chick sent in the video and an email to the principal saying they should be exposed. I'm just like, is it that deep, sis? Are you that offended? I'm not even that offended. Do you care that much? I think the reason why people be, another reason why people be so scared to tell the truth is because people care too much about how other people think, and how other people see the world, how other people, you know, do this, do that. Generally, I don't care. You know, I had a friend a couple days ago said, you like me, you treat like shit. Now, to me, that's fucking crazy, but at the same time, what you eat don't make me shit. Fuck it, I guess.
Yeah, like,
I mean, do I think that's healthy for you? Fuck no, but I mean, I can't change you. You do what you gotta do, I'll do what I gotta do.
Yeah, it's wild.
But for me, it's just like being genuine. It's just something I gotta do at all costs. Like, it's just I feel like I disrespect myself too much trying to pretend that I'm not me. You know, especially growing up in I went to like an all black middle school too, and a ghetto like area. And there's certain things you try to hide, not to seem weak. But it's like, and I had this fragile. Well, I'm not gonna say fragile, but this toxic masculinity wall up to like, oh, I'm this nigga. I don't, man, we ain't fuck a bitch, fuck these hoes, nigga, we ain't crying about shit, we ain't expressing no feeling. I can't do it now, but I'm a sensitive ass individual. I'm a sensitive dude. I have my feelings on my shoulder. Like, oh, why would you say that? Like, bro, I had an incident on the bus yesterday on the way back. This chick asked one of my friends this question. She was like, name one boy on this bus you wouldn't let date your daughter. She pointed at me, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that shit genuinely had me feeling. I'm like, bitch, like, this like 7 to 11 nigga back there who trying to push up on the chick. He cheated, like, bro, what? Like, I'm just like, she's like, oh my God, you're so bored. I'm like, yes, I am. Like, yes, that shit, and I hate that someone's opinion matters to me, but it's not about the opinion, it's about that, wow, we're supposed to be cool, we're supposed to be friends, and I don't judge you for what you do, but that's a sign of judgment right there.
Yeah, but like,
that's a pure, and she said she was joking, she really was talking about someone else, so it's not that deep, but I see past that. I don't think it was that much of a joke. I don't think she was joking now.
You know, all jokes can change true shit.
You know what I mean? Exactly. All jokes comes from a little bit of truth. So it's like, you kind of do feel like that. You wouldn't say it, and you might not even realize it, but nah. In a way, that is genuinely how you feel. And that kind of sucks, because it's like, I don't judge you, but you judge me. You know what I mean?
Hey,
and so it's like, it's one of those situations where it's like, I heard over the stuff like that. I'm a sensitive individual. I'm the type of dude where, if you stop to tie your shoes, I'm going to start with you. And if I stop tying my shoes, you keep walking, I'm gonna feel some type of way about it.
Nah, for real. I feel
like, bro, really? Like, you couldn't stop like, I'm that type of dude, because it's like, again, I don't know, I've always been like that. I'm just sensitive to shit like that. I don't know, I feel it so easily, because it's like, I want the love I show to be shown back to me. You know what I mean? I gotta show love to myself first, though. I'm not being genuine is not showing love to myself. I have to be as genuine as possible.
Yeah, for real, because like, you can't be genuine to everyone else until you're genuine with yourself.
Right, I can't expect anyone to be genuine with me.
Yeah.
Alright? Like, how can I expect you to take your walls down? I got all my walls up. Like, nah, my wall's down. And when you're comfortable with somebody, or when you're comfortable with yourself, you make other people more comfortable. You be like, I can tell this nigga you want anything, and they won't judge you. Like, everyone knows that dude in school, something that just seems like he don't give a fuck. Like, he'll say what he wants to say. Like, people hate that, people envy that, because they wish they could say that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had a dude, I was late to school Friday. Me and my homie walks in. You know, we quote unquote respect or whatever. But this one dude, he's just like, man, why you making us more like he He just saying what's on his heart, not envy. I'm like, I told my woman, like, bro, I wish I could say that shit.
Right.
Like, nah, it's like a white counselor with 2 black dudes. I'm like, the dude was white, so it's like he could afford to say that shit more than I could afford to say it. But it's like now I'm thinking about, I'm like, maybe I should have said that shit too.
Yeah.
And maybe I should just deal with the consequences that came with it. Because I wasn't genuine in that moment. I was trying to pretend like I was respectful and shit like that. But in truth, I want to be like, bitch, I'm not late. Like, I wanted to say that genuinely.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I should have said it like that, but I disrespected myself in a way. I see it as I disrespected myself for not being genuine in that moment.
Yeah.
That's how I'm viewing it now. Every time I don't speak my piece. You know what I mean? And like I said, I analyze myself, so I'm always kind of like that voice of, man, are you saying what's true in your heart, or are you saying what you think should be said or need to be said, or what your character needs to say? Because everyone has the character of what they believe they should be, their ego and stuff like that.
And I feel like that was like the worst thing I could ever experience, with just trying to tap into the ego. Because I saw a little glimpse of that not too long ago. It was like around the winter time, between 2021 until now. And like by the time, that's when I was like very heavy. I wouldn't say heavy into drugs, but it was to the point when I was like literally snorting cocaine for fun, bro. And although it was cool feeling like the Wolf of Wall Street for like 30 minutes, it brought out like the absolute worst at me. Like there was so much truth that I said in a few things that I wish I didn't say, because half the time I was like, was it true or was it not true? Did I really feel like that in the moment, or was I just trying to like associate with the group? And it just kind of fucked everything up around that time, and it went downhill after I tried it the second time. And although it wasn't as bad, it also made me feel a lot more insecure. I just felt like more vulnerable than I was when I was just simply smoking weed. So like with that being said, whether it's like psychedelics or literally hardcore, anything that's outside of marijuana, it's just like it had to really make me reflect on how mindful I should be in certain things. That's what I was about to reference like a while ago, with how there's certain things that we wanted to do now but we couldn't because we got older. This is one of those moments. Like if I got invited to a certain party, specifically like a hotel or a house, I'm gonna be very subconscious about what I'm gonna do at that said party, especially if I'm already intoxicated or in some way, shape, or form. Like I didn't want to make anything, at least in my head, a fuck up more than it really is. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny you mentioned cocaine as a weird thing that makes you feel more truth, but that's my major fear with alcohol addict. I'm not gonna say I have a negative connotation. Well, no, I do. I have a negative connotation of alcohol because of what I see growing up, and even what I see to this day, where it's like, and I think at first I was scared of me speaking the truth and me being out of pocket.
Yeah.
But after my first time drinking was during March. March was like my first time really drinking, and I realized like I was scared of what my genuine self was, but I realized I'm so close to it now. It's like I'm not that much different when I'm drunk. You know what I mean? I'm about the same. So I'm genuine now. So it's like I was scared I was gonna be like either this angry asshole or this really depressed dude, but it's like, nah, I'm just me. I'm just as chill. And it's like it kind of made me realize, well, the saying that a drunk mouth speaks a sober mind and shit like that. And like that's people's major problem with drinking. But it's like if you was just honest all the time, that really wouldn't be much of a problem with it. You know what I mean? That wouldn't be much of an issue if you was just always honest.
Yeah.
In a way. And like one of the reasons I stopped smoking weed is because it made me feel so insecure. My mind would be on tempo. I smoke and I feel like shit mentally, because it's like I just have my own mind being down and like, oh, good shit, you ain't shit. Like, you know what I mean? I feel my most vulnerable and insecure off weed after a while. Like, the word, like, it's terrible when you go from being depressed to like, okay, I'm supposed to feel better, then you're high and depressed. Like, that's a terrible combination.
Yeah.
That's what I started going through. So that's one of the reasons why I kind of ceased it a little bit, because it wasn't making me feel better. It made me feel worse. It would make all of my insecurities on punch me of like, now I'm at a point where it's like, yeah, I know. You know what I mean? At first it was like me trying to not like, no, but now it's just like, nah, I ain't shit. I can be insecure sometimes, you know what I mean? I get jealous sometimes. I'm human. I hope to achieve a point where I'm not these days, but I'm only 17. Sometimes I feel like I could be more harsh and critic, where I feel like I have to be perfect. But we should always strive for perfection. But at the end of the day, I'm still growing.
Yeah.
I feel like my mindset would take me farther than most. Me realizing these truths about things. And, something I was reminding myself was sex in general. Like I've been celibate, or I went celibate for a while period in my time, and I try to deny myself all love. So I try to act as if I just don't feel lust and shit like that. While all my homies are out, doing their thing, I always try to act like nah, I don't need bitches and shit like that. But it's like I was denying myself, because truth be told, I do want those things, but I try to pretend like I don't. That's disrespectful. Now, if I genuinely didn't, then cool, and I wish I genuinely didn't. Hey, I'm a teenage boy. I can admit, some nigga wants some bitches. Like, I can admit, but it'd be more disrespectful for me to pretend like I'm better than like, oh, no, an educated individual like me don't need no food. Like, no, I'm not that. Sometimes I just want to be held. I can admit that. I should be able to admit that, and I don't fear no more putting my feelings on frustration and being judged for it, because it's like, I'm so honest that you can't help but respect it. If you don't respect it, then we ain't gotta talk no more. But I'm no longer trying to hide who I am in fear of being judged by another man or being belittled by a woman or something like that. Like, nah, because I wouldn't want you anyway if I can't be genuine with you. I wouldn't want to be friends with you anyway if I can't be genuine with you. What's the point? I'd rather have 2 genuine friends than have 10 that none of them I deal with. Like, people got all these, like, friends and shit like that because they're not as real with them as they want to be. Or they don't show them 100%. I try to show my friends, all my friends 100% when I'm around them. This is who I am. I shouldn't be that much different no matter who I'm around.
Right. And I've been thinking that too, meeting other people and seeing their social groups and how they act. And I see how it can, be a certain, like, I wouldn't say bad, but I can see how some things can be put off just for their own entertainment. And some of them, it's kind of funny. I laugh a little bit. I get chuckle a little bit on a few instances. I can't laugh. But overall, I just realized that over time, they stick to a certain code, and if you mess on or just like fuck up on one thing, you're done. It doesn't matter what it is. You just don't ever life. Some people, they might forgive, others they're not so forgiving. And whether I think that's mature or not, that's not for me to say, because it's not my world. It's not what I see or I live. But if it suits them, then it suits them. But I would like proceed with caution with anything, not just like social, but just also how you act and how you present yourself towards other opportunities.
I think I realized I'm in a time period where I'm angrily genuine. Like, I do this out of a passion because I've been silent for so long. But I want to hit a point where I'm so genuine that I can be chill about it. I'm genuinely myself, but it's not like, I might be, maybe right now I'm so in your face about it because I wasn't for so long that it's like when you hold water back, it just rush it out and it makes the stream calm down. So right now this is the big push out. It's been held back for so long that I'm genuinely, I'm angrily, passionately, violently myself, because it's like I have to put myself on front of me. I feel like it's a must. It's my duty for me to put out who I am immediately. But I want to hit a point where I'm so used to it that I can finally just be chill about it. I want the chill stoner archetype. Have you seen Atlanta?
Yeah.
Like Darius is his authentic self, but he's not violent about it. Like he's just the chill weird dude.
Yeah.
That's who I am. I just want to get to a point where I can be Darius levels chill, but still be chill.
Like still tranquil, but also being yourself at the same time.
Right. So I gotta balance that, but I gotta experience what it is to just be my genuine self at Bud Street and being that to everybody. And it's not easy. It's not easy to drop social cues and stuff like that, especially when you are conditioned and trained to be a certain way and trying to break past those barriers. It's not easy, but I feel like it's my new duty to do that. That's what I'm trying to achieve right now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to chase.
I got you.
It's always speaking the truth. What I feel is the truth, because everyone has their own version of the truth. There's no such thing, but just being genuine to myself. sometimes we're not always the heroes. I haven't always been a hero. I've been a villain. Even now, I don't feel like I'm a hero. I feel like I'm an anti-hero. Like,
Not for real.
I'm not dead in the middle. I try to go towards the light, but if I have to do dark in order to get to the light, then I'll do that. And I can admit that I'm not always the best person. I'm not always a good person. But my goal now is to be the most genuine. I think I chased for a while after. I chased after what is quote unquote called a good person, doing what I think a good person does. A good person don't have others. A good person does this and that. Blah blah blah. But it's disrespectful to myself because I'm not being genuine. Shout out to those people who are genuinely a good person. And I'm not even gonna say I wish, but it's cool to see that people can be like that.
Yeah.
But I believe we should be genuine first. And wherever we fall on that scale is, hey, that's where we go. If you're genuinely a piece of shit, then hey, be that. And we'll deal with you accordingly. If you're genuinely a good person, then hey, congratulations, you're the lucky ones. But I'm tired of pretending or attempting to be something that I'm not in my deep heart.
Yeah.
I'm not good at that. So why don't I just be that? That's all I can really. That's the only thing I can really chase to achieve. Really, is just be my most genuine self. So that's what I'm chasing now at this point.
Hey, hot boy summer and a hot girl summer is right around the corner too. So
fuck anything else, man. Might as well just be myself.
Might as well. Like wherever that whole spectrum goes, so let be.
And look, I'll deal with the consequences. It'd be easy to deal with the consequences of being myself. I'll take that. Because everything has its consequences. So every consequential effect. So I'll deal with the consequences of being myself.
Yeah.
I just gotta be that first, though. So,
especially when it comes to like relationships or.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm chasing. Again, that's one of the few things I wrote down in my sketchbook today. I wrote down my morals and principles, things that I live by. I believe every person should have good morals and principles. I wrote down what I am and what do I want to be. I also wrote down my dreams. And one of my dreams is to find someone I can be 100% honest with.
Yeah.
100% genuine. I want to be able to tell you everything about myself. Not everyone judge, but not be treated differently.
Yeah.
So,
especially considering all this happening in our lives, we always feel accustomed to know certain morals and certain values before initiating like anything you do really, or at least have things prepared before anything happens. So at least you'll be like ready for whatever worst comes, like, whatever shit throws at you, whatever like comes your way. You can know when to dodge, weave, probably even retaliate in some cases, but it all depends on how you look at it.
right. Like I said, I had a date like Friday. We was just at Barnes & Noble or whatever. And I let her know, hey, I ain't shit, blah blah blah. But I asked her what are her cons. At first she was like, I don't think I have any blah blah blah. But then she was able to open up. I was like, okay. Some people tell me I'm psychotic. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm glad you told me that now. So if you stab me later, I won't be as surprised. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just let me know, and then let me know what's the problem, so I can know if it's worth dealing with. Don't surprise me.
Yeah.
I would be way more pissed if I found that out later. I'm like, damn, you couldn't just tell me you was crazy from the jump. Like, just let me know. I ain't gonna immediately cut you off. I mean, if I feel it's necessary, then I will.
Yeah.
The energy, I feel like it's not right in that moment. But just let me know, and I'll deal with you accordingly then. But don't give me no false pretenses. And I get it. It's not easy to let everybody know everything out jump. But what's the problem with doing it? I'm at a point now where it's like, nah, I'm gonna let everything, up jump. I have no problem talking about different traumas and different scars I have in my past now to anybody. Because I've accepted it.
Yeah.
I've accepted it as part of myself. It's who I am. I'm not saying it's who I am, but it is part of my history of what made me who I am.
Right.
So why should I feel scared to speak about certain things that's happened to me? The only reason I would be is because I would be scared of someone judging me for that. But I no longer care too much about the judgment. Okay, cool. You think I'm weird? I know. Hey, so what? If you want to deal with it accordingly or what? Like, just let me know. But no more pretending.
Oh, another thing that people should stop pretending. Red flags. Red flags that don't even be red flags in the first place. So there's a few that are they're accurate as fuck, but then there's others that just make no fucking sense. Because it just based on how they hold certain like history applies. For example, there was one TikTok I saw, and then I saw one Instagram video that had explanations about red flags. And one of those red flags were basically being emotionally unavailable during times where you should be able to communicate. That is a red flag. I expect that. The other red flag was if they were a music producer. That's just flat out things. I was like,
I think one was like Playboy Cardi. If he likes Playboy Cardi and stuff like that, shut the fuck up.
I was like what? Like if I'm listening to Playboy Cardi, I'm not gonna be
I used to wear dangle earrings for a little bit. I remember this chick was like, yeah, if he wears dangle earrings, he's probably a hoe. I'm just like, come the fuck, like, whose society is this? Where was the general consensus that made that a thing? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sitting here like I am, but like, that's not doesn't mean that. I mean, at the time I wasn't, but like, doesn't mean everybody is. Like, what the fuck? Like, who's deciding these things? You know what I mean?
For real.
And I mean, we kind of do it in the same way, like the subconscious of, oh, she wearing booty shorts, she must be like, I don't even got that no more. Now it's just like, I know, people who dance and shit like that who are the most respectful beings on earth. And I know people who are in businesses who are complete what you would call a slut. So I mean, it's natural for us to view things and make judgments about them. But now I realize seeing things on a deeper level that like you really don't know anything. That's the biggest lesson I've learned is that I don't know shit. All I really know is myself, and I still don't know that truly. So all I can do is try to discover that first. People try to explain the world but don't really know who they are. What are your passions? What is your insecurities? What do you really desire? You know what I mean? I've been asking myself, what do I really desire? Right now, I just desire someone to hold me. I can admit that. Shit, physical affection would be kind of nice right about now. That's what I desire. That's what my body. Well, I would say that's what my physical self and my emotional self desire. My spiritual self probably desires just peace. I don't want to be stressed no more. But it's important that we know these things. Some people don't even realize there's 4 categories: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual.
Yeah.
Some people don't even pay attention to the first 3. Some people don't even pay attention to the first 2. You know what I mean? You gotta pay attention to these things.
Right.
And that's how you become more genuine to yourself.
Especially with how things are going on nowadays. And honestly, the more I think about it, and this goes for anybody, sometimes we just all want our dicks sucked, Like, not anything bad with it. But we just gotta let things know, like, people just need to just, like, have at least some sort of affection, unless she's gonna be, like, a robot with, like, no emotion.
Yeah, like, hey, if you're a hoe, just say that. Like, why just say that? And I'll decide what I want to do with that information. Like, you're scared of my reaction, but I know why people are so preconditioned to people to judge, but I'm at a point now, it's like, I know, sometimes it's like, I already know. I'm just waiting for you to tell me. You know what I mean? I know, like, just let me know. Just let me, like, I just want people to be more genuine now. And I need to start with myself. I need to be more genuine, if anything, but it's just, it's a mandatory now. I guess that's one of the biggest things I learned. And I can say that's something I didn't really have when I was 15 in quarantine. Though I had a lot of times to myself, which is probably when I was my most genuine, I wasn't as genuine as I am now.
Yeah.
So like I said, though I missed that time period, I am better off overall. Making it coming back full swing, full circle. But I think that's what I'm chasing right now, is to be my most genuine self. And not disrespect myself. That's the biggest thing. I no longer want to disrespect myself, because I feel like I've done that a lot in my life. It's put myself on the back burner. It's like no more. Self-preservation is the law of the land. I have to respect myself. I have to respect my own boundaries. I have to make a line and not cross it. So that's the goal now.
Yeah, especially nowadays, like, the only things that we usually try to pray for, we don't really pray for them until we actually get into those trials and tribulations, and wondering if it actually is, authentic or genuine. And I'm glad that a few things that are still, like, current now, that are most important, are stuff that I'll still, like, feel comfortable with today, especially with music. Like, it might not be as proficient, or at least as, quantity-wise like it was before, but at the same time, if I have to sacrifice that for a whole 10-piece track of, like, quality, then I will take that over anything else any day, because that makes it more it makes it more personal in a way because you know how much work and time you spend on that, and it's like all that just to pay off something more greater. I'll take that over just having simple bits and pieces where I know I could have done better, and then instantly like get clouded. Like I wouldn't want that. Like it did at first, but then over time it's like, no, I could have done a lot of things better with these certain like parts of the track that people presumably said, yo, this is like this is next. Totally like should how this thing go? I'm like, nah. Which by the way, that shit's still fucked up, but that's a whole topic for another day.
Yeah. How long have you been talking?
We've been talking for an hour and 11 minutes.
That's crazy.
Not for real.
Yeah. I think I just had that on. I mean, I've had this on my mind for a while. That and the fact that nothing feels real anymore. Like, I don't know. I keep looking at I've been doing that recently. I've been looking at my hands. Feels like, I don't know. I think I'm just starting to disconnect from a lot of things in general. You know, having this spiritual breakthrough, if you want to call it like that. I'm realizing, man, none of this is real. As real as what a fake real.
Yeah.
As real as what, like, I see this as real. And I've had certain moments that happen. I'm just like, was that real? Did that really happen? You know what I mean?
There are parts of me where I wish they didn't really happen, but sadly they say that it did, and there's others that I'm glad it happened.
Certain things, like, don't even, like, what you call your reality is only based on what you really remember. But someone could tell me, yo, remember that time you did this? I'm like, no. He said, oh yeah, you did this. I'm like, no, I don't remember. So as far as I'm concerned, that's not part of my story.
You need some receipts for that.
I'm gonna say, I mean, I probably did do that thing, but like, it's not part of my story, so it don't match up with my reality.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I was talking to this chick yesterday, and she was like, oh yeah, we had a conversation one time, but you was drunk. Like, I don't remember that. That's not part of my reality. Well, let me say, this is not the first time we were speaking. But you said we had a conversation, and I was being drunk. Like, I mean, I ain't gonna say I didn't. I probably was, but I don't remember that.
Right.
So did that really happen? Is it real to my reality? And it probably is, but for the day John right now that's speaking, that didn't happen. Maybe for the day John back then, that was part of his reality. But me, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
And the worst thing is you don't realize you're talking about past version of yourself. Like you might remember something, but either way, you're like, that's not.
Don't remember, like, what did past me do that caused future me to? You know, I make jokes like that, like, if I didn't do something at night after this, I'm like, I'll let future day John deal with it. I have faith that the future version of me will deal with it. You know what I mean? I have faith that future day John, in a couple hours, will finish that one he has to do at home. I hope. I can't speak for right now because that's not the reality I'm living. The reality I'm living in right now is me talking in a parking lot. I don't know what's gonna happen. So who fucking knows? I hope that the day John that walks will figure it out. That's all we can really do. I have confidence in myself that I'll figure it out, whatever it may be. But I don't know.
Yeah, damn, bro.
Some strange shit.
Not for real, like. Some things would be like, I miss this old person, or I miss this type of person, or the things that you used to do, or the things you can't. Not after the things I've seen, and the things I believe, it's not possible. It's not possible. Like,
that's what I'm saying. When I feel like I open Pandora's box, and I feel like I can never close that shit down. You know what I mean? Like I can sometimes live and pretend. It's just something something I kind of done was believing that I could just go back to being normal.
yeah.
But it's like I'll never be normal. I'll open the truths and realities. This is who I am now. Like I will always have this level of awareness. I will never not be this aware.
Yeah.
Maybe my awareness grows as I get older. That's the weirder part. Every time I think like this is the max, this is my, like, even now I think this is my peak awareness. I'm gonna be in 10 years. I'll probably be even more aware. Like, you know what I mean? So that's another thing that's kind of like scary is that like I talk to people and it's like I realize okay, we're not on the same level when it comes to the awareness of who you are, your reality, or anything like that. It can be kind of lonely. To be honest, a little lonely when you talk to people and you're like, dang, you don't understand like I understand.
And I wish they did. I wish I would say the same things that I wish I could have said before. But like we talked about earlier in this conversation, that things that we can talk to, we can't really do through the history and how we can't be on the same perspective. can't be on the same level as we did before because we changed so much. And if you haven't evolved in me the same way I have, or at least to a point where you can understand where I'm coming from and know your perspective better than mine and vice versa, then we can't really have that conversation. And I wish we could, but like, say we did to someone we haven't seen in a long time, and whether we were on good terms with them or bad terms, it doesn't matter. And we still talk to them about something. But the thing about it is, you don't even know where to begin. Like, how do you even start a conversation like that, or at least how to at least be real with what you're about to say?
Just speak from my heart, I guess. I mean, that's I don't know. It's so, you know what? I just had this thought. I realized the difference between quarantine me and me that wouldn't went through quarantine is I would never open Pandora's box. I would never be this self-aware. Had quarantine not happened, I had time to understand my awareness.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be as aware. I wouldn't be as genuine. I would have just played into the game that every team plays into. But instead, it's like sometimes I feel like I'm looking from a third-person view. Like I'm just the cameraman of seeing other people's lives sometimes. Like, you know, sometimes I don't feel real. It turns out I'm just kind of watching other people do things. I'm just like, huh, that's interesting. You know what I mean? I'm friends with so many different types of people. I'm friends with the weird art kids. I'm friends with the Hall of Famers. I'm friends with the athletes. I'm friends with this one. So it's like sometimes I feel like I just sit back and I watch them play their parts. But I feel like I'm always the person who doesn't have a part. But I'm okay with that. I don't really need a part to play. I think I somewhat enjoy just seeing things go. You know, sometimes I do want, I create certain experiences.
Yeah.
Certain not like the experience and stuff like that. I think that's what most people want to do is heighten their experiences and gain as many as possible. You know, so of course I have those human obligations to want to do that. But sometimes I also just feel like the dude who just the Darius, just the one who's just experienced.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't want. Sometimes I feel like I'm a side character in other people's story, but I'm starting to realize there really ain't too much wrong with that. To be honest, maybe that's the best. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's not best being the main character. The main character goes through the most shit. Sometimes I want to just be the chill side character who's just like, you doing great, my dude. Like, you know?
Yeah. Like there's some things that you just need to like.
It's not like I'm an NPC. Like,
yeah, you don't have to think about it.
I know I'm too self-aware. Like if I am an NPC, I'm the most self-aware type of NPC. Where it's like I understand my place, I understand my role in certain things. I understand where I'm supposed to be doing. And sometimes I get mad about that. Damn, why can't I be this? Why can't I do that? You know, I get content about that because it's my pride and ego that we heard about. Like, why can't I be the one who does this, and that?
Yeah.
I also have to realize, and this is just really tapping into myself, is that I have a certain role to play. And I'm so self-aware now where it's like, I can chill knowing that there's certain spaces I'm not going to experience in my lifetime. But it doesn't really matter. It doesn't none of it matters. I have no problem. I have no problem being the one who assists others. No problem being the one who throws you the sword so you can slay the dragon. You know what I mean? I just want to see people around me elevate as well. So I have no problem being the side character. I have no problem just being the one who just collects. And sometimes I feel like I'm that too, just the dude who collects the information, the knowledge. Come to me about any problem, I probably have an answer for it. You know? That's fine. Fuck it.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe I have a certain role in this lifetime to just assist certain people. Maybe my journey is just getting started. And I don't even realize it. Maybe I'll have my own side character who will assist me in my own journey. I don't know. But I'm not gonna be so. Because for a while I was very. Even I still have to even say things. I get kind of pissy about it. Like, why can't I experience this and that, whatever. And now it's like just have this conversation and realize like I'm blessed with the awareness that I have. I'm blessed with the knowledge that I hold. I can't ask for much more than that. There's people in their 50s that don't even have the awareness. I'm not gonna say pure book knowledge. I can't tell you what 3x minus 2/3 equal y equal. Like, I don't know what that. I can't tell you that right now. But when it comes to knowledge of the self and knowledge of the world as in how we see the world, I believe I can tell you something that maybe someone who in their 60s might not be able to tell you.
Yeah.
And not just do someone telling me, but through my own experience. A lot of my knowledge is from experience. I feel old sometimes that I've experienced so much in such a short period of time. So the saying is, you realize how blessed I am to have this type of knowledge.
Keep in mind, we're still young. Bro. You're only 17, bro. You haven't had 2 decades of experience. So like all that being said, it's like I wouldn't say that stuff would be side character material. Like we all have our own story, like our own role to play. And it's better in their eyes, or bigger in other people's eyes. It could be small in you. But regardless, though, you have a certain chapter that nobody can really replace. And if someone told you that said chapter, you've been like, damn, bro, how the fuck are you still here right now?
Dude, that's literally could explain my year of being 15 is honestly from 14 all the way to like really early 17 is if I explain everything in that time line, you would ask how the fuck did you make it?
Yeah.
I ask myself that sometimes, how the fuck did I make it out of that? I shouldn't have been, I shouldn't have been able to make it out of a certain situation, but I did.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel like an anomaly sometimes. I feel like a glitch in the multiverse. Like sometimes I wake up like, I don't think I should be here. That's why I sometimes look in my head like, is this still going on? Like, damn, I'm still here. That's crazy. I swear I'm not supposed to be here. Like, I feel like an anomaly or a glitch in this universe. So now I can kind of have fun with it and just come like the knowledge and also experience. That's all I'm trying to do now. Is just up my experiences, get my experience points in, get my XP and all that.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I sometimes feel like I'm a glitch. Like, damn, I'm still here. I'm supposed to be a childhood tragedy out here. I'm still out here rocking for real. And I'm only gaining more knowledge. I bet. Let's see how much more I can learn. See what more experiences I can have.
I'm not supposed to be here.
Like, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I see the peaceful version of myself just in a house, with a yard, with a big tree, me going out to that tree with nothing but shorts on and just sitting there chilling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I go through all these crazy experiences, but I still just desire peace. I still just desire the ability to just chill a little bit sometimes, you know what I mean? I do enjoy the wild shit, but I also like routine. I don't know, it's a weird duality with me. It was like, I like the chaotic, hey, let's go rooftop right downtown to, I just want to sit back and sip tea.
Yeah.
I do both. People don't believe me when I say I do both. I have pictures of me on a roof doing graffiti. I also have a picture of me holding a teacup, sipping mint green tea with a little bit of honey in it. I do both. I like the duality of it.
Yeah. So, hey, ladies, if you're watching this, get you a man who could do both. You hear me? For real.
Sorry.
Nah, you
Track legs me.
Nah, I feel that. Can't be stuck for too long. We could. It's 4:09, so we can check if Daniel wants to.
I said, I'll call you.
Yeah.